call our meeting to order for Tuesday, January the 16th, 2024 at 3:30 p.m. We're going to start with our opening. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Mrs. Holly Pickens, and our invocation will be done by one of our school employees, school board employees, Mrs. Cherie Clayton, representing the sorority and the district.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can everyone please bow their heads? Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us into a new year. Lord, we ask that you continue to keep our students, our teachers, and our families. Lord, we ask that you continue to keep our school administrators. May you continue to give them the wisdom and discernment as they lead our schools. Lord, we also ask for traveling mercy for our bus drivers as they bring our students to and from school. Lord, we ask a special prayer as we celebrate School Board Member Appreciation Month. We ask that you continue to lead and guide our school board members as they make the best decisions to continue to move our district forward. And Lord, we ask that you continue to keep our schools safe, and continue to pray for all of our Putnam County School District employees and students. And we ask all of these blessings in your Son, Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Mrs. Clayton. We'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for coming and being a part of this meeting today. I know that a lot of you are here because of the presentations that will be made, and worth it. Yes, these students have worked hard. The administrators, as the prayer was prayed, parents, all of you putting forth an effort to make sure that your child can be the very best that he or she can be. And so today, this afternoon, we have come to celebrate them and to say we appreciate you. You are a part of us and a product of Putnam. So at this time, we will start with our presentation. Our first one will be the CTE retirements by Mrs. Renee Huff. Then following the retirees recognition by Mrs. Whitehurst. That way I won't have to keep coming back. And better yet, you have it in front of you. Let's follow until we're done with our presentations. If we get bogged down, I'll move us on. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Board. Today I would like to recognize Ms. Sharon Harris. Ms. Harris was recognized back in December as one of our Putnam County School District employees that was retiring. But she was also part of our CTE department. And she taught the Health Science Allied Health program at Palatka High School. So today we would like to recognize her with her recognition plaque. In recognition of your 33 years of service to Putnam County School District and career in technical education, your dedication and devotion to your trade and to teaching will not be forgotten. And we thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Just gonna stand there?
She's gonna
Okay.
stand.
Good afternoon, Board. We are very excited today to present to you our two newest retirees. And the first one, we would like to recognize Miss Valerie Frederick for her service to Putnam County School District. She has been the assistant manager at James A. Long, and she has only been with us for a little over 7 years, but she has been with the Florida retirement long enough to enjoy retirement at this point. So Miss Valerie Frederick. And then our next one is Miss Annette Smith. She was also with our food service department. And yes, there she is. I'm sorry, not food service. She was a custodian at Browning Pierce Elementary School, and we are so very thankful for your service to Putnam County School District for the last 8 years, and we are just excited that you get to enjoy retirement from here on out.
Her daddy had 12, my dad only had 9.
Thank you guys, enjoy retirement.
Congratulations.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Diana Drew, and I am the co-director in Student Services. And I believe this started last year. These recognitions started last year, and we decided it was such a wonderful thing we would continue on with them. And what I am here to talk about is the academic team champions that are done through the Florida High School Athletic Association. So basically, what that is a recognition program that honors teamwork not only in competition, but also in the classroom. So they're looking at that as a whole. The program recognizes teams in each of the association's sanctioned and recognized sports, naming an academic team champion in each classification based on the teams that hold the highest GPA. So when you're looking at the whole sanctioned events, that's a lot of teams. So for our kids to rise to the top and have the highest GPA across the team, that is something to be excited about and something to celebrate. So we would like to do that. I believe today we have Palatka Junior Senior High School here, and we're going to recognize Crescent City Junior Senior High School and Interlochen Junior Senior High School at a later date, and I will get with Miss Susan on that. Do we have Tim Ross here? Is Tim here? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so we will be recognizing them as well. So if I could please have both of you come forward, and we will have you recognize your teams. And we will start with Palatka Junior Senior High School.
He was very gentleman.
Hi, good afternoon. I want to quickly introduce our coaches for our cross-country team, volleyball team, and girls golf, and I'll let them ask them to come up and say a few words. Coach Ed Polly is our cross-country coach. Coach Misty Woods is one of our volleyball coaches, and Coach John Garrett is our girls golf coach.
You want me to go first?
Well, you like to talk. I know you.
I get it honestly. So I am the volleyball coach, and I've been doing it for I think 9 years now, something like that. And I just am impressed by the work ethic, not just in our volleyball girls, but just in kids in general. Sometimes, I know when I was in high school and my mind quite wasn't to the level that they are. They're very concerned with their academics and like they keep up on top of it. Like we don't have to hound them. I don't have to ask their teachers because I know that they've got it together. Our varsity girls, like average GPA is over 4.104, which I mean that's pretty impressive. Mine wasn't that high when I was in high school. We have so many of them that are in honors classes and so many of them that are full-time dual enrollment students. Our QI girls are like the ACE stuff that they're in is like way above my level of thinking. So when they come and bring the work, I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I can't help you with that kind of stuff. So I'm just very impressed and super proud to be coaching them because they're not just great athletes. They're also just great human beings and smart in and out of the classroom. Like they make wise decisions on the court and off the court. So I'm proud of them.
Okay. Well, I am the cross-country coach for the boys cross-country at Palatka Junior Senior High. My name is Edward Polly, and I just want to thank the young men that I have here today for their excellence in education, which helps us understand what a true student-athlete is, and they make it easy on themselves because if you take care of your education, you have the ability to put the time and effort into your craft, whatever that craft may be, and they did an excellent job this year. In progressing from where they started at in the beginning of the year to where they ended. And I'm just proud of them. And at some point, I wanted to take my time and shorten it and let them introduce themselves, if that was okay. Okay, so I want to shorten my time. You gentlemen come up real quickly. I want you to introduce yourself because I shortened my time for you because this is about you today and your excellence. I'm missing 3, DeMonte Barnes, Sam Duran, and Jacob Beverly. Please stand and introduce yourselves. Here we go. Real quickly, get your time in.
I'm Wyatt Tillis.
Junior, what year?
I'm Kevin Lugo.
I'm Keelan McGinnis. I'm in the 10th grade.
I'm Kaden Hill, 9th grade.
I'm Elijah Ibanez, freshman.
I'm Lance Dollar, senior at QI Roberts.
Thank you. And that is my group, and I am proud of them, and I just wanted to say thank you. And do we step out now for the pictures? Okay. Y'all guys step out.
Yep. Sandy, you want
You might as well stay down there, Sandy.
I'm gonna stay back.
we need to squeeze in.
Let's give them another round of applause.
And Jenna. Afternoon. I'm Coach Garrett. I'm the golf coach for the girls. Thank you and good afternoon. And these girls have really worked hard this year in the classroom and on their golf games. We have 4 seniors, 3 juniors, 1 sophomore, 1 freshman, and 2 8th graders. That our record this year was 12-7, and we came in 3rd in the district, so that qualified us to go to the regionals. Oh, yeah, come on. I forgot. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So come on. Nothing, just work. This The girls golf team, I think we're missing a couple. But we had one of our better years. And besides doing well on the golf, the juniors and seniors are also dual enrolled. So when they graduate from PHS, they'll also be graduating from St. John's. And I'm just real proud of them all. Thank you.
Let's get your picture. Yes.
Looks like a Morris right there. Is that little Brandon Morris? Megan Morris.
Hi, my name is Ashley Jones. I'm the coach at Crescent City High School for the girls volleyball team. So if you girls want to come join me, I have 3 girls here today with me. We had an amazing season. We had a couple of injuries, so it was a rough start, and it was really hard losing one of our seniors to an injury. But let me tell you, she didn't leave the team. She was there and she supported this team the entire time, and we just appreciate that so much. It just shows how close these girls are, not just on the court, but off the court too. They're incredible in the classroom. We go away to a tournament every year for the weekend, and there were girls on their computer doing schoolwork while we were at that tournament. They're very dedicated to their schoolwork. But outside of that, they're not just dedicated at school or even at home on the court, all of those things, but they're dedicated to this community. These girls are all also volleyball coaches for our rec department, and so they're growing the younger generation to, one, love the sport and to show them what you should do in the classroom and on the court, and I'm just so proud of them. So thank you, girls.
Good afternoon. My name is Joe Theobald. I'm the principal at QI Roberts Junior Senior High School. And to continue on with our celebration, first off, about half of those student athletes that we just recognized are students at QI. And that high expectation, I don't know what I just did, but I'm sorry. That high expectation kind of carries on through all of our programs. So today we have 2 programs to recognize, and the first one will be our esports team, who continues to win and produce great results. And so I'll introduce their coach and have the guys come up. Mr. Chris Cantrell does a great job with the team. And the athletes, the student athletes, esports athletes are continuing to do a great job as well. So Mr. Cantrell.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Chris Cantrell. I am a computer science teacher, as well as I run the esports program over at QI Roberts. We placed first place out of the entire country in the fall, and I have a couple of the players here today. I got Wiley and Nathan and Caleb. With placing that high in the fall season, we now qualify for the Nationals competition, which is in May, which these students will be able to compete for thousands of dollars of scholarship money, and of course bragging rights, knowing that we are the best at something in the entire country. So it's pretty cool. Another thing I guess I would make note of that's pretty cool is Wiley. He's been accepted to Penn State, and he is most likely going to be on the esports team there, and he's going to pursue a nursing major as well. So I'm just really super proud of them. And
Coach, didn't you compete against some colleges?
Yeah, so oddly enough, last year we had an opportunity to compete against some colleges. One of those was Penn State, and we beat them, and we won a tournament. So, yeah, I think that kind of caught their eye in terms of Wiley right here being recruited in some way, shape, or form, and it all kind of like led to that. So I guess that was kind of the first step of that process. But another thing I would like to make note of, I have a lot of these guys in my classes over the years, and they take first, second year college level computer science courses, and they do very well in them. One of them is not here right now, Jacob Hines, and I'm really proud of them, not only from that academic aspect, but all the stuff that they've accomplished in my esports program.
Good job, Chris.
And to continue on with our celebrations, our marching band is always top notch, but this year has done even better than years past. So to kind of talk about that program, we have our band director, Mr. Randy Dew, and he'll come up and kind of introduce his program as well.
Good afternoon, school board and everybody. My name is Randy Dew. I'm the band director at QI Roberts Junior Senior High School. And when I got to QI Roberts in 2015, there was no marching band. I begged Mary Wood to let us have a marching band 2 years later, and she let us have a marching band, and it was terrible. But just to be honest, but they loved it. So it was a work in progress from day one. And now 8 years later, these guys went to contest and received straight superiors at the district level, which has not happened in this county in over 12 years at marching contest. Interlochen did do it at concert contest, but straight superiors is the highest score that you can possibly get at the district level. And I'm proud of them. I wanted to introduce two of them. Unfortunately, I couldn't bring the whole band. I brought my drum major, one of my drum majors, Samantha Olmstead, and I brought my brass captain, which is William Hudspeth. And I'm really proud of these kids. They work really hard. They start work the last week in July, so they start before school starts, much like the football teams do. And then they work all season, all the way through to November, and they work after school. They work on their music during school. They provide their own leadership within the group. I'm sort of like the guy that if they can't solve something, they come and ask me. But they're very independent. I also want to echo that I don't have to ask their teachers. I just have to tell them, you got to be passing your classes. And next thing you know, they're all passing their classes. So my kids don't have any problems with academics at all, and I'm really proud of them. And we hope to do it again next year. All right.
And if I may add just one more piece, one of our QI Roberts Knights music program alumnus is playing in the Marching Chiefs, and so you're listening to him play the war chant for Florida State, and I hope, and that is Sammy's older brother, and I hope she follows in his footsteps so we can all chop together. Thank you.
And this is why we do what we do, all of you. the support, helps these students to gain all of these accolades. And believe it or not, they would not be as great as they are without the support they get from home, from their teachers, and from all of you that know them, that love them in the community and encourage them. And to all the administrators, thank you. All right, we are now ready for our public comment. Did we receive any? No public comment? Okay. All right, at this time, we are ready for the adoption of our policies. We have 6 here before us. Yeah, 6 before us. Attorney Holmes, you will call the roll, District 1, and we will say adopt or whatever.
Can we do them all as one?
Okay,
Okay.
all right, that
All
is safe,
All right.
okay.
All right, Madam Chairman, I'll move adoption of policies number 3700, 5136, 5512, 7530.01, 8600, and 8660.
I'll second.
All right, it's been motioned by Mr. Phil Leary that we adopt the policies that are listed here on the agenda, and it was seconded by Mrs. Holly Pickens. Any discussion? Hearing none, are we ready to vote? All right, all in favor, let it be known by aye. We're
You're
doing
gonna
roll
do,
call.
you're gonna do
Oh,
roll
you're gonna
call?
do roll. Oh, I'm gone. All right, let's do roll call.
I'm with you.
Way ahead of me. District 1,
Adopt.
District 2,
Adopt.
District 3,
Adopt.
District 4,
Adopt.
District 5.
Adopt.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we are now ready for our consent agenda. We're gonna start with you, Mr. Leary, and we will move to your left. Is there anything you would like to pull?
Madam Chairman, I don't have anything to pull. I will have some comments and recommendations under my board comments.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mrs. Wagner?
I have nothing to pull. My questions were answered earlier.
Okay. Mr. Buckles?
Came in early and got it taken care of.
All right. Mrs. Pickens?
I have nothing to pull.
All righty. And I have nothing to pull, so if we can
I
get
make
a
a
motion.
motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, motion by Mr. David Buckles that we approve the consent agenda, and it was seconded by Mrs. Linda Wagner. All in favor, let it be known by aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We are now ready. We don't have any emergency.
Here we go.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
you do
do.
have emergency.
Yes, we have. We are now out of regular session into emergency session.
Madam Chairman, I would move L1 approval, the justification as the time sensitivity. I'll second that.
All right, motion by Mr. Phil Leary that we approve item L1, that's the overnight trip for Palatka High, and second by Mr. David Buckles. Any discussion? Right here and none, we're ready to vote. All in favor, let it be known by aye. Aye. Motion carries 5-0.
Madam Chair, I'll bring up the number 2, NEFAC Purple Star Program Justification Explanation Time Sensitive, that recommend we approve it.
I second.
All right, motion by Mr. David Buckles that L2 Purple Star Program be approved, and second by Mrs. Holly Pickens. All in favor, let it be known by aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve item L3, personnel allocations, change number 12, 12.1, 12.2, justification, explanation, time sensitive.
Second.
All right, motion by Mrs. Holly Pickens that we approve item L3, item change, allocation number change, and second by Mrs. Linda Wagner. Open for discussion. Hearing none, we're ready to vote. All in favor, let it be known by aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve item L4, out-of-state travel, University of Georgia, Mary Frances Early College of Education Career Fair 2024. Justification, explanation, time sensitive.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mrs. Holly Pickens that we accept item L4, the old out-of-state travel, and it was seconded by Mr. David Buckles in his discussion. Hearing none, we're ready to vote. All in favor, let it be known by aye. Aye. Motion carries 5-0. We are now out of emergency session, back into our regular session. We are now ready we have no unfinished business. We're in discussion for new business, the final selection of social studies adoption by Ms. Jen Azu.
Hello. It's so great to see you all again. I'm going to start by handing you each one of these just in case we have an internet issue. We felt like it would be better to be prepared today with this weather. So what the board has in front of them is a highlight reel of our social studies adoption along with our recommendations. Our team has been meeting. As you remember from our last conversation, we very recently held our publicly noticed review team meeting where we eliminated and we did make some movements towards our final selection. And so that's what I'm here today to update you with. This presentation will mark the opening of a 20-day feedback window for any PCSD staff member who did not participate in the review committee, for any PCSD parent or guardian who would like to provide some feedback on our choices, or any Putnam County resident who would like to provide input. And so I'll talk you through how they can do that, how they can find the selections that we're attempting to present to you for a vote in February, and also do some shout outs of our committee members. So we're going to start with the starting place. You may remember that last time I was here to talk to you all, I shared with you all who were serving on our district review committee team. That was myself, the incredible Carrie Paul, who's here with me today, Adam Azula, and Laura Shettle from the Department of Teaching and Learning. In addition to these folks, we had some incredible teacher reviewers this time, staff reviewers who represent all of our schools throughout the district. So we're very excited about that. Like I shared, they met on Monday, January 8th. A subset of that team, along with some parent team members, met to eliminate and select curriculum recommendations. And so today we're going to share those with you. Here are just the names of some of those incredible folks. I want to take just a minute to very publicly say thank you. If you have ever participated in a state adoption process or a district adoption process, you know that it is very time consuming. It is a process that is not easy. Like I said, it's very time consuming, and it also requires a certain level of expertise on both content and pedagogy. And so we were very excited about this team of reviewers who came together representing all of our different schools throughout the district to help in this process. To remind you of the timeline, and to remind all of you out there of the timeline, you may recall that we shared many of these dates with you the last time we came together, but I want to remind you of some upcoming dates that are very important. As I shared, this presentation will mark the opening of a 20-day feedback window that will run from January 17th to February 5th. We will have another public meeting on February 12th from 4 to 4:30 in hopes that we can get some additional input and feedback at that time. And then on the 13th, I'll be back before you. And at that time, you'll be presented with our entire instructional materials plan for social studies. And at that time, on that February 13th meeting, that is when we will vote on the options that we're presenting to you. That vote is not the end of the process. That vote will open a 30-day contest period, at which time folks from the community can have one more chance to offer feedback, input, and potentially contest the adoption. If that does not happen, and our community and our staff and our parents are feeling pretty good about these choices, we will meet again on March 19th, at which time I'll share with you the purchasing plan for those social studies materials, and you'll vote on that, meaning which grade levels, how many courses, how many students, et cetera, will receive materials. If we do have someone who contests, we'll have a special hearing on March 18th, and at that time, that committee will make a decision either to continue on the path or stop and go back to the drawing board. So I just wanted to give you a heads up about how that timeline flows, just so that everybody has a really good understanding of the logistics of it. If all goes well and we do end up adopting new materials and purchasing new materials, then the plan will be to begin planning for implementation and professional learning and support for all those new materials beginning in April. That'll continue through the summer. Our plan is to pull together our social studies teachers, much as we have for ELA and math in the past, so that they have a really good opportunity to dig in, learn what those materials are all about, think through the materials through the lens of students and actual instructional planning, and then be poised and ready to implement those materials in August of the next school year. Here are our recommendations for elementary. You may recall that when we came together last time, I told you that we would bring you a primary recommendation as well as an alternate, with the intention of the primary recommendation being the one that's implemented district-wide, but with that alternate being in place in the event of we have a publisher who can't fulfill the contract, or if we have a change in costs or anything like that. Sometimes, they'll commit to PD and then they find they can't provide the PD that was promised. So we want to have a fail-safe in place just in case, but the intention would be to implement the primary recommendation district-wide in the grade bands for which it was selected. So at this time, for K through 5, our primary recommendation is the Analytic Orange curriculum. And you can see in your documents that we have provided you all, as well as we're going to provide everyone through our website, the hyperlinks to all of the student editions of these curriculums. So if you select what you see there in blue from our webpage, you'll be able to select that curriculum. If there is a username and password provided, which is only the case for our secondary options, we have provided a username and password for the community, for staff, for Putnam County residents, so that they can get in and access that. Just a reminder, when it is open for public review, you do not have the opportunity to look at the teacher's editions. You only have the opportunity to look at the student materials. And part of that is for the safety and security of all the assessment items, right? So if you select these links, just know you're only getting access to the student editions. To help both staff, parents, and community, we have also on the website, just like we've provided for you here, we've provided the FDOE core rubric score out of 5 so that you can see what state reviewers ranked that curriculum. We have also provided the FDOE standards alignment score for every single curriculum so that you can see what state reviewers, not PCSD reviewers, but the state expert reviewers, how they ranked that curriculum in terms of alignment to both the old standards as well as those new standards that are coming our way. So just know that's some of the information that you have here in the tables. I want to really quickly just share with you a few highlights of both the primary choice for K through 5 as well as the alternate choice, just so that you have a few of the highlights that our staff and our parents were particularly excited about. So when we talk about Analytic Orange, you'll notice one of the first things we have here on the slide is that language acquisition, and they promote 2 times the ELA coverage. And the reason why they say that about their program is because throughout Analytic Orange, you're going to find a variety of primary and secondary source text. You're going to find a lot of reading, writing, speaking, listening, very similarly to what you'll see in ELA. Some of the differences are that with Analytic Orange, a teacher also gets high leverage practices laid out for them in the lesson plan with lots of options. It doesn't tell you exactly what to do. It presents multiple options, gives you the effect sizes of those options, which is very different from some of the curriculum we currently have in place. So it lets you know as a teacher right off the bat, how likely is this choice I'm making to impact my students? How likely is it to really impact their learning, which is a great plus. In addition to that, our teachers found, and they tout, that they're easy to implement and easy to maintain. One of the reasons they say that, and one of the things that our folks really liked about this curriculum, is that there's no side printing that should have to happen. Everything comes in the student consumable every year, meaning there still may be a little bit of prep. You still may have to help students tear pages out, do some cutting for certain things, they have some game-like lesson strategies in their curriculum, but all of that it comes pre-created with the curriculum every year of the adoption. And as you might imagine from a teacher's perspective, that is a great time saver, right? So they were very excited about that piece. The other thing to know about Analytic Orange is, unlike other curriculums we've talked about, they align to Hattie's research. So they tell you the effect size of the strategies that they're presenting. But they also connect evidence and research behind the scenes in the teacher's guide, so that not only does a teacher have a sense of, okay, what strategy am I going to select today, but there's also some guidance on how to better implement that strategy along with the curriculum, which was another wonderful feature that our folks pointed out. In thinking about Analytic Orange, it is built very much on the C3 framework and includes inquiry in much of the learning process. They provide many questions, and they're linked to both Webb's depth of knowledge as well as Bloom's taxonomy, so that depending on your familiarity with the different questioning structures, you have both there to help you make better decisions. Again, all about saving time and helping teachers create better decisions for kids. Let's keep going. We'll look at the teacher's edition really quick here. They give a few of those highlights that I shared. The other one I want to really call attention to that our folks liked is, with Analytic Orange, you do get pre-created digital presentations. Again, when you think about saving time and the time and effort that our folks put into teaching our students every single day, any little time saver is so appreciated. And not only do they include digital presentations, but they also allow you to customize those to make them become exactly what you need for them to be. So you don't have to just accept them as is. You have editing features. And then finally, I also want to point out that differentiation strategies, how do I meet the needs of all learners in my class? That's also very laid out in the teacher's resources with this curriculum. Another one of those great points that our folks pointed out and really appreciated. In terms of texts, assessments, question banks, you don't get as many of the digital resources that some of us may be used to with curriculums from larger providers. Analytic Orange is fairly new. It is a group of educators who created a company for the purpose of this social studies adoption. They're now in a couple of different states, but they're not as large. They don't have as big of a budget going into some of those pieces. They're going to be working to add some digital pieces, but currently most of what you have is in the actual print resources, which again, for some, can be a time saver, right? I'm not having to go build and pull from lots of different places. It's all here, sort of self-contained, so that when we have issues like the internet has gone out, I can still get to what I need for my students, which was another one of those wonderful things that our folks pointed out as a great benefit of this program. For our second choice, our alternate choice for K through 5, our teachers did really like the Gallopade curriculum, which is more like a traditional textbook company's curriculum. You do get a few more of the digital pieces here, but what you get in digital, our folks felt like you did not get in terms of time-saving pieces, right, that they loved from that Analytic Orange curriculum. However, in Gallopade, just so that you can feel really good about that option too, should we have to take it, you do get a print and digital teacher's edition. You do get print and digital teaching tools. And then you also get a student book, as well as the one extra piece that they really did like from Gallopade were those biography readers. But our folks kind of overall felt like we have access to lots of biographies through a variety of means. Our Benchmark Universe curriculum for ELA and others have lots of these same biographies, so they did not feel like that was a deal breaker, so to speak, or didn't sway them to it like we thought that it may. So those are the two options currently for elementary: Analytic Orange as the primary and Gallopade as the alternate selection. So now let's look at secondary, unless you have any questions about elementary. So secondary, you can see for most courses, our folks, our staff did choose, they were heavy McGraw-Hill. It was a program that no matter what subject area for social studies, our reviewers representing the different courses really loved. And one of the things that they really appreciated about McGraw-Hill is the attention that they gave to Florida-specific standards this go-round. McGraw-Hill's done a lot of work to add some end-of-course preparation, even for courses that don't have an end-of-course assessment, which our folks who teach multiple courses at the high school level and multiple grade levels tended to really love. They talked a lot in our elimination and selection committee meeting about the need to have students answering those same types of questions at that same level, no matter if their social studies course had an end of course EOC at the end or not. They felt like it was just really good practice for kids, a good cognitive lift. And so that was one of, just to be very transparent, that was one of the big features that they pointed out. You will notice there's one course at the high school level that did not feel that way. They really felt like for United States government only, that SAVIS was a better option. So for United States government, you'll notice that the committee did vote to have SAVIS as the primary, but McGraw-Hill as the alternate. And you may recall that U.S. government is a one-semester course. Typically, though, a lot of the folks who are currently teaching U.S. government are not teaching multiple social studies preps like some of our other folks are. So they felt very strongly about the SAVIS materials. Thus, you see SAVIS here as the primary recommendation for that one particular course. But all the others are McGraw-Hill. Again, remember that I said that with secondary, there are some that do require a username and password beyond just that hyperlink to get in. I have included all of that in the table for you, as well as on our Department of Teaching and Learning website, which I'll show you in just a minute, so that we can ensure that all of you, as well as all of you, can navigate that and feel good about how you access that. So let's talk McGraw-Hill really briefly. A few of the things that our folks loved about it, first and foremost, was the lesson structure. It replicated in every course. Those that teach multiple preps really appreciated that fact. They said, Jen, I don't have to learn 4 different styles of teaching to be able to teach this. It all follows the same flow, which was a great selling feature. They do work on a sort of a 4-step sequence for their lessons. You can see here, introduction, learn the events. There is always an inquiry activity, and then finally the review and apply. And again, that replicates in all of the curriculums, no matter which course you're looking at. In addition to that, McGraw-Hill is fully customizable. Every presentation, every assessment question, every assessment within the platform. Teachers have so much choice with the McGraw-Hill platform, which was another wonderful feature for our folks. I want to highlight this because it was one thing that it did. It made McGraw-Hill stand out from the rest of the pack of the social studies curriculum we looked at. And that was the English language learner scaffolds within the curriculum. McGraw-Hill, much like our benchmark curriculum in the elementary, connects all of their English language support directly to the access and WIDA levels. So if I'm a teacher and I have an English language learner in my class, as long as I know where they are in language acquisition, the program is going to provide me with very specific ways in which for every single unit and lesson I can differentiate. It's not the ways of the past where you kind of got some overarching ideas, but nothing really specific to really help you. With this curriculum, every suggestion is tailored to the specific lesson that the student is in. And that, for so many of our teachers, was such a wonderful selling feature for this curriculum. And I've provided you just one example. I mean, there were thousands I could have pulled from every single teacher's guide to show you. But you can see it just really tailors it to the text and the topic the student is learning, which is really important in our district. Finally, another selling feature of McGraw-Hill was just the variety of structures that they use to engage students. You have everything from designing a web page to creating an interactive timeline to having kids create digital slideshows of the content and teaching other students, news reports, presentations, podcasts, Kahoots, and more. I could go on and on and on. But that variety of activities that a teacher could select was another one of those great pieces of this curriculum that they really loved. Here is that end of course practice that I mentioned, that all of our folks were really happy to see at the forefront of these curriculums. And not only do you get a book that can be accessed throughout the year or the semester, depending on the length of the course, but you also have embedded EOC practice in every unit and every lesson, which was, again, a very appreciated piece. The last two things I want to really quickly hit on with McGraw-Hill is the Smart Book feature. So a lot of our textbook companies offer digital student texts. I have never quite seen one that offers what McGraw-Hill is offering with these new social studies. They're calling them Smart Books, but it's just the digital text. The reason why it's so different is because once a student interacts with that Smart Book a few times, it begins to learn their preferences. How long do they typically spend on a passage? What kinds of things are they typically highlighting? What tools do they tend to like more? And then it begins to customize their experience for them while they're working in that digital textbook. For lack of a better word, it's very cool. In searching for an even better word, what a great way to be so intentional to an individual student's needs, right? It's the one thing that we try so hard to do as teachers, is meet every kid's individual needs. And this Smart Book is just one more new tool to help ensure that that's happening for all kids. And then the final piece of McGraw-Hill that was another selling feature is that you don't have to have two separate curriculums if you're teaching advanced or general, because there's an honors guide and advanced guide included in every curriculum. So you purchase one book for civics and you automatically have the honors curriculum, you automatically have differentiation strategies, and that Smart Book, which again was very appealing to our incredible staff. So those are the highlights of McGraw-Hill. Really quickly, because we did select this, the committee selected this for American Government, I want to just share a couple of the highlights of SAVIS to give it its fair review. With SAVIS, our teachers of American Government really loved the connections to current events that happen throughout this curriculum. You can see right there from the get-go, they call it Connect. And it's a way to take a topic, give kids just a little hook to get them excited about what they're about to learn, and then it has them dig into primary and secondary sources, which our teachers who teach American Government really liked. There is also a new tool for podcasting called ListenWise, in which a teacher can select from a variety of podcasts to have students engage in listening. So not always just the act of reading, but sometimes listening to text, so that they can grow and extend their thinking. There are investigations included throughout that include leveled summaries for students who may have some difficulties with the text. So if I need to drop that level, I don't drop it at the beginning. At the end, I provide a summary that's at a little bit of a lower level of text for kids, keeping those expectations really high. And then finally, they loved the practice of citizenship skills that's included throughout the text. There were lots of opportunities in this text for kids to debate over an essential question that's asked, lots of opportunities again for reading, writing, speaking, listening, all throughout each and every unit that got our folks excited. And then finally, there are some digital assessment items included with this too, not fully customizable like they are with McGraw-Hill, but certainly there is still some selection that teachers can make throughout those pieces. And here's just a really quick look at that assessment platform, what it kind of looks like. Teachers are able to print reports at the standard level so that they have a sense of who is mastering which standard. You can also print reports by, you name it, topics, units, etc. So lots of options in the SAVIS program for pulling data and getting a true sense, formatively assessing where are my kids, who's mastering and who's not. Any questions about those two secondary curriculum
just
options?
Real quick on I think it's clear to designate it or to say that these are all DOE approved by the state of Florida adopted list. Because you're going to have some people that are going to come up and they're going to say, you know, that you shouldn't be teaching this to our children. But I know the legislature and the governor have worked very hard to ensure that our civics curriculum are going to be top notch. And I think we need to clear that up for the record. And the language acquisition part of it is really important because, you know, obviously we've got a lot of language acquisition problems or situations that we deal with in our county, but with what we've taken into America recently, it's going to be even worse because we're going to have so many different nationalities that a teacher is going to have to deal with. But anyway, I think you've done good. Very good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And that is a great point that you made, because remember, with science that's getting ready to start this month as well, we're going to start our science adoption process. You may recall that because we delayed social studies by 1 year, and then we delayed even at the start of this year because the state wasn't finished with getting us a finalized list yet. That finalized list didn't come until October of 2023 when they finally said, that's it. Everything that's approved is on here now. Everything that's not going to be approved is no longer on there. They gave publishing companies, just like they did with math and ELA, lots of opportunity to revise, fix things that reviewers found in curriculum that maybe didn't quite gel with some of our standards and our expectations. And so what you see now in our options, all of these come from the finalized approved list. Remember, with science, we did not delay a year, so we won't have the benefit of having the finalized list when we start the process. So we will pick a primary and an alternate for science as well, with the understanding that if our primary selection doesn't make it to the state's final list, we may have to go with our alternate, right? But we're not going to run into that issue with social studies because we did delay a year, so that we would know that we know that we know that the curriculum had made it through all of the state's review processes first before we had our incredible expert reviewers look at it here at the district level. So you can feel pretty good, pretty confident in knowing that all of the social studies curriculum has now made it through both a state review committee and all that entails. It's made it through our district reviewers, and then our district subset with the recommendation and elimination committee. So it's these curriculums that have made it this far have made it through multiple iterations of looking and analysis. All right, so let's talk about the 20-day feedback window, if you're okay and ready for that. Really quickly, just a reminder, this will run January 17th through February 5th. And on the February 13th, and I need to change that time, I'm so sorry, that should be 4 to 4:30 on February 13th. We will meet, we'll have a publicly noticed meeting in which folks can bring comments as well. But the primary way we want to invite the public to share comments and look at the material is through our website. It's the easiest way to keep track of everyone's different input and feedback in a way that we can visualize it and do something with it, right? So to do that, the way that you're going to get to the feedback on our Department of Teaching and Learning page is you're going to go to the PCSD website. You're going to select this menu button here at the top of the screen. That's step 1. a little, another sub menu is going to come up. You see that box over here. You're going to look for curriculum instruction and go all the way to the bottom. Step 2 is you're going to select teaching and learning from this list. Once you select teaching and learning from the list, you're going to see down here on this third screenshot, I have a little arrow pointing to instructional materials adoption timeline. That's step 3. When you do that, you're going to see that very same chart. I've put a sample of it right here in the program for you. You're going to see these very same timelines, tables, and charts come up on the screen. But you're also going to notice that we have to leave input and feedback. Please use the Google form that is hyperlinked on the web page. It will be hyperlinked right on that page for you. All you have to do is select that hyperlink, and that's going to give anyone who wants to give additional feedback an opportunity to go in and leave that feedback. Now, I will be very transparent and say it's not anonymous, and it's not anonymous intentionally because we're inviting staff, parents, guardians, and Putnam County residents. We don't want to get inundated with comments from folks who don't even live in our community giving feedback on these particular selections. We really want just folks from our community to be able to leave that feedback. So you'll notice it is going to collect an email and a first and last name. That'll be helpful too if we need to seek clarity on something that someone shared. We have a way for you to indicate what your role is in giving that feedback. And then we have just a series of a couple of questions per curriculum. So you can choose which one you want to provide feedback on. You don't have to necessarily provide it on all, or you may choose to. But for each curriculum you want to leave input on, you have to do a new Google survey. So you'll have to go back to that link for any time you want to change and now give me feedback on another. You're going to have to go back and reselect that link and then start entering your responses, if that makes sense.
Can you imagine with the Savas and the Google links and the things that it done, all the teachers and all the people who have worked on this, the algorithms that have shown what was popular and what wasn't. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
I just can't get over it.
It definitely is. Yes. It's definitely a lot of time. And I'll finish just by saying another thank you again. I want to thank every staff member, the parents, community who have given input so far. We would not have come as far as we have without their wonderful brains, time, and talent. So I just cannot say thank you enough. We're a district that's filled with incredible people who never cease to amaze me with their willingness to go above and beyond. And when I say they went above and beyond, we had folks who were still reviewing curriculum over Christmas break. We were back and forth. How do I get to this? How do I get to that? What about this? I mean, we have the best district, I'm convinced of it, around. So I just want to say again, thank you to all of them, and thank you to you all for giving me just a little bit of time today. I look forward to seeing you probably at the very next meeting to talk about this and science again. So thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you to you and your committee. Thorough job.
I like the Department of Teaching and Learning. I've always said that's what we're about.
Hey, we are now ready for the reports from our board members. Our board attorney will let you, in whatever way you choose to come to us, and our superintendent. We're going to start with you, Mrs. Pickens.
I don't have a whole lot except Happy New Year. And one of the great things about teaching I always felt was you get to kind of get a start over and, a redirect. I taught a lot of semester-long classes, so sometimes I got new students, and it's like the beginning of school year is exciting. The beginning of the second semester, especially for our seniors, is particularly exciting. I'd like to say congratulations to our retirees and Ms. Whitehurst. I'd love that we're recognizing them under Ms. Gilliard's great guidance. That's wonderful to see. Also, the all-county, all the kids that have been recognized for all-county volleyball, cross-country, the Palatka Daily News goes over and above to recognize our students and write a little, synopsis of their careers and give them the accolade that they deserve. To teams that were represented, the high GPAs, it just shows that our students really are student athletes and are students first. And I appreciate the coaches because they didn't really take any credit for that academic part, but they're leaders, and those students know that what's expected because they set that expectation. And Mrs. Zula, there's, you know, I'm very confident in this, and I just love to listen to you explain, and you can hear your passion for our students in your voice. And that's about all I have. Thank you.
Mrs. Pickens. Mr. Buckles?
I ditto everything she said, and back to facilities and options, I just want the superintendent to know on our behalf, you're our chief executive officer, and you serve by law as secretary of the board, so you can carry out what we need to know. You need to work with the attorney and find out anything you can to, if it's swapping facilities, selling facilities, things that we're having a hard time getting on the market. If there's any options that you can come up with for mitigating any circumstances that arise in this construction, please bring it to us.
Sure.
And as far as road lights and things, I know we've had problems out there at Kelly Smith in the last year or two, you know, trying to handle traffic and all. And I would think that maybe find someone, maybe our new attorney can work with DOT officials and see what we can do in the future to plan ahead, and like the situation in Crescent City, because we're going to have anomalies and things that we're not going to really know about, but we can start now.
And we've talked to the architect. I mean, he's very much aware of that traffic problem.
Yes, sir.
So as we get into that designing, again, you know, we purchased that additional land, so
Right.
we'll be able to, you know, stage a lot of those vehicles on campus where we haven't before.
Okey doke.
Yeah.
I'm done.
All right, thank you, Mr. Buckles. Mrs. Wagner?
Well, if we can do it as easy as ditto, I'll do the same. But I did want to, again, congratulate the retirees. It's just so good to see the folks that have dedicated so many years of their life to our county and to others, if they're the ones that have been in various areas. I also wanted to just say thank you in a general sense, at least for people that have been coming to me about the building construction. I've had some questions, and I spoke to Mr. Bowling earlier, and I said, I need to know how to address some of these questions because they are coming up. That was very well done, I felt like today, because I feel like I know what's going on now, and I can relay that to people. And I say this every time, but I so enjoy seeing the student athletes coming in. I think everybody up here has either experience being a student athlete or coaching or, well, Mr.
I have a
Buckle,
granddaughter.
you know everybody anyway.
That's not always a good thing.
But I just want to emphasize to those who don't have the experience in it, parents in particular, if you've got young kids, you don't always know what impact letting that child be on a team does. I mean, I was in band and tennis, and that's band, for example. That's something that my mom let me try in junior high, and she said, "I'll buy you a flute, and if you still like it in high school, I'll buy you a little better one." I still play that flute today. I've been a professional musician most of my life, and so for me, band changed everything, and it just opened up a lot of a lot of experiences that I'm thankful for, and I still play. So that's one thing, but the athletics as well. Our young people, it's good for them physically, it's good for them emotionally, and the connections they make are just so important. The personal connections, learning to work as a team. I personally was not on a team sport. Mine was an individual sport, and there's vast differences. Golf is similar, but if you saw the looks on these girls' faces when he came up and was talking about the golf, it made me teary. But they bond with their coaches, they bond with each other, and there's so much involved with that. So parents, if you have children asking to get involved in these things. Do anything you can to allow it, because it just makes them dig in with their education as well, and it's all a big package. So that's all.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Wagner. Mr. Leary?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Couple things, and I certainly concur with all the comments and accolades that my fellow board members have said, and I won't repeat those, but I agree, and I think it is wonderful, and we do have, as Mrs. Zula said, an incredible staff. The one thing about the Kelly Smith Elementary School I'd like to see, because I'm one of those grandparents with granddaughters there, is that we get with Mr. Weaver and DOT and move that school zone down past east of
Kelly Smith Road.
Of the road of the not Kelly Smith, it's
Round Lake.
Round Lake Road, because I can assure you, when I look in my rearview mirror and I see these cars coming up behind me doing 60 and 65, I just grimace. That's not going to solve it, but at least it'll slow that traffic down and give us some calming there.
And actually, we did go to DOT and requested exactly what you're asking, and we were turned down. And they cited all kind of evidence, but hey, we can always go back to them.
We're gonna need to go back, and that's because it's a priority. The last time I dealt with DOT and the State Road Department, we tried to put a stoplight at Bostwick. And I had petitions, about 3,000 names out there, and they said you gotta have so many people killed before you can put in a stoplight. So, I mean, you see what we're dealing with, so we need to start now and try to figure out what you want to do with it.
It's been my experience is that you get past the bureaucrats, you go straight to the elected officials. So we call Bobby Payne and we call Travis Hudson and say, come look, just come see the traffic there on an afternoon when parents and grandparents and everybody else are picking those kids up. I don't have much patience for DOT. I've worked with them as a planning director and as a consultant over the years, and but we do have a member of the Florida Transportation Commission that's a resident of Putnam County, and I occasionally see Mr. Briney when I go to Angels and have breakfast, and maybe that's something that he could help us with also.
Well, and we did talk to him too, but we will definitely continue, and I'll work with Don on that and see what we can do, because that is a very dangerous situation.
Well, and it's been exasperated by the increase in the student population, and I understand that, because my kids went there and now my grandkids. Two real quick things, kind of quick, Madam Chairman, is the superintendent and I had a long discussion and about two different issues, and most of y'all saw the article that was in our press clips that we get from the School Boards Association, and also I saw it last week in the Palm Beach Post, which is what prompted me to contact the superintendent on our absenteeism. And absenteeism has been a chronic issue since the pandemic for all schools, not just us, but across the state. But rural school districts specifically have taken a real beating. And ironically, the School Boards Association didn't report it, but that did come up in a education quality committee meeting in the House. I think it was during the December interim committee weeks, and it was discussed. I hadn't heard that. So I guess the legislature's looking at it too. But that, in addition to, and I'll just reference the email that we received from one of our guidance staff from Palaca High School about the issue with discipline and conduct, which is something that I heard a lot about during my campaign, and so that we could do, instead of trying to do it in a board meeting, have a workshop on those two specific issues. The superintendent said he could bring in, our school administrators and staff, and then we can just have a discussion. I don't think there's any silver bullet, but I certainly would like our constituents and the parents to know, and teachers, that we're working on both of them. And, basically from what I've been told by school resource officers, that, there's about 50 kids at Palaca High School that are 90% of the problem. And, you know, Interlaken and Crescent City much lower. But I would recommend that, I know we're going to be having some workshops on other things, but these are very two important items that I think we need to get a better understanding and a handle on.
Okay.
That's it for me.
All right, and you've spoken with the right one. the
Well,
superintendent
and
that
again,
set for us.
we've got a tentative date, but I need to kind of hear from the board as
Yeah,
far as
what you want.
your wishes, consensus as far as wanting this type of, I appreciate Mr. Leary bringing it up, but I want that to be something that the board would like to hear from us. Is that,
Okay, and now you're posing the question for now?
Well, I'm
getting an
asking
answer?
now.
Do you want to do it?
Yeah, I'm asking so we could,
Well, for me,
proceed on.
for me, it's predominantly, I was talking about what Phil mentioned about the traffic situation. Because we're gonna have the old E.H. Miller site, new Palaca Elementary School, then we're gonna have Kelly Smith, and that's gonna really impact 20, it already is. So we've gotta find a future there and maybe some solution down where Holly was talking in South Putnam. You know, I looked at Melrose and Aquila, and we get enough teachers that come from across the county lines that those schools are good where you've got them, and I don't think we're
No.
having a problem there.
His reference.
Discipline?
Right. He,
Well, attendance and discipline, is that what I'm hearing?
Email we got from one of
I
our
got you.
employees, yes, sir.
We got it.
That's
Basically,
what he's.
attendance and
Mr. Buckles, we
Attendance
actually gonna
and
engage our architect on some of the questions you're asking, and we can definitely,
Yeah, that's gonna be
Well, we've
taken care of,
got
but
so
we-
many homeless kids, and I don't even think they've got an accurate reading on that throughout the,
and again, with the, you know, with just now determining that Kelly Smith is gonna be our second school, that will initiate a study on the traffic issues that you're referring to, for sure. But if I hear you right, we have consensus from the board, and I do have a tentative date that Susan gave me, if this works out, because we do have one board meeting, I believe, in February. Is that correct? And one in January? Could you check your schedule and see if February, this is a board meeting day, February 13th at 2:30, which would be immediately before the board meeting? Is that workable for everyone here? And what we will do,
So our scheduled board meeting is the 13th.
yeah, scheduled board meeting, but we would have the workshop prior to that.
2:30.
Right, and we'll get with staff and bring some information.
Okay.
I know Ms. Francis has already been working on it, so we will definitely bring that information to you. So that is a concern for all of us, and we definitely want to have a conversation.
Okay. For the sake of time, real quick, just ditto to everything that was said, and again, can't say enough, Mrs. Whitehurst, and want to commend and congratulate our STEM team that will be presenting in February in Portland, Oregon, in the Portland Ballroom. All right, it will be Mr. Helms, Mrs. Schofield. Did I say the name correctly? Dr. Serency and Dr. Coleman for the excellent job that's going on with our STEM program here in Putnam County. Others are looking at what we're doing, and we commend you for that. Another great thing I saw as I was going through the agenda was the Grand Canyon University, where they are going to fly out some of our students, fly them. You think of that. Putnam County students, some that don't get an opportunity to go outside of the county, they're gonna go to Jacksonville and fly out and visit the universities. And if they have a certain GPA, they have the opportunity to get their tuition paid for. And the great part about this whole aside from the education that they will be getting, they can either do it in person or online. So just many avenues are opened up for our students, and we want to thank the great leadership that we have that make these opportunities available for our students. And I'm hoping that will stop the bleeding, as we're in the past, people were leaving our districts because they felt our system wasn't competitive enough. But by Jiminy, they better ask somebody. And then the social studies, Ms. Jen, thank you to you and your team for an excellent job. Mr. Attorney.
Thank you for the opportunity of providing you service in this capacity, and appreciate the opportunity and tell you that I'll do my very best to justify your trust. Other than that, I don't have any comments.
That's all we can do.
Yep.
Good to see you, Mason. Thank you, sir. Mr. Superintendent.
Yeah, and I'm very excited to have Mr. Holmes alongside us, and like many of us here, he has some grandkids in the school district, so he definitely has a vested interest, and we just look forward to working alongside him. He's been a practicing attorney in this community for decades, right?
Oh,
So,
man.
it's been our-
There you go.
There you go. I could say century, but I'll say decade.
I appreciate
All
that.
right. Lee Thomas.
I have a couple other items to share with you. We do have a change in a graduation time, if you make a note of this. And I guess we can send out an email to confirm it, but.
We did, yeah.
Yeah. QI graduation normally is a Saturday night after Palaca Highs. It's gonna be the Saturday morning after that at 10 a.m. So if you make a note of that. Be a little cooler, I guess, maybe. And I have a few other items I just want to bring to your attention. First of all, I mentioned before, this is School Board Appreciation Week, and I want to, again, thank you all for your service. Martin Luther King Day was Monday, and we're excited about the upcoming events at our schools and in our community in February for Black History Month. We always have a number of activities for that. Beginning second semester, just encourage our families to stay in contact with your teachers from the beginning of the term, and our family engagement creates success for students. And Tuesday, January 30th, will be our next superintendent's community engagement session, and that will take place at their Miller Middle Auditorium in Crescent City. And we just encourage all family and community members to come out, and that will be at 10 a.m. So we'll send you an email on that. We will be, I know some of you asked about the presentation for the earlier about the revision in our revitalization plan. We've already, I just emailed all of you a link that I just got from Mike. He's been working on it, of that presentation. So if anybody asks you about it, you can send it to them. And Ashley is actually going to post that after the Bond Oversight Committee tomorrow night. We will post it on our website, so you can also direct people there for the copy of the meeting and some of the documents that were shared with you. And I think that's everything. Ashley, did I cover everything? Ashley's my go-to person on that. So anyway, that's all I have, Madam Chair.
All right, I have to live with these women that are a part of my sorority. If you will allow me, I'd like to introduce them. Some had to leave, but certainly I would like to introduce them. You see these ladies in the paper. I told them yesterday at our final womanhood celebration that if there is a vehicle moving in Putnam County, Azada is driving it. And I firmly believe that, because these women are everywhere. For Martin Luther King celebration just yesterday at the Women's Resource Center, we're not bragging, we're just saying we are part of the solution. That's what we want to be. And we had our sign because Dr. Martin Luther King, one of his themes was not a day off, but a day on. And so yesterday we presented items at the Women's Resource Center that can be used by them. So at this time, I if you would indulge me, please.
You're in
allow
charge.
me
Yeah.
to introduce these ladies, because they work hard. You see them all over the paper doing things, donating. We serve Brown and Pierce Elementary School as mentors, working with a group of young ladies, as does a group down in Crescent City at the high school. Whatever we can do.
We
wherever
appreciate
can
their
serve.
service too. Thank you, ladies.
I'm going to start on my far right. Patricia Johnson, Mrs. Patricia Johnson. All right. She is the mother of Cherie. Cherie, just stand up. Cherie is one of our employees. That's daughter. They became sisters together. Sister Mary Thomas. Mrs. Mary Thomas. Miss Annette Fennell, longtime teacher. David Buckles trained her, I guess.
I think she trained me pretty much.
And someone that may resemble me, she thinks she's my mama, but she's not. Regina Gilliard Thomas, which is my sister, and we are the part of the women of Gilliard. And if we could be of service, if we could be of service in any way, why don't you come down with us, Mr. Superintendent? And if we could be of service to your school, to your organization, just let us know. And if we can do anything to help, because that's a part of who we are. We are a service sorority.
I know, she can't help it.
Scholarship. Preachers do that.
She like you, she tells me what to do too.
Wait a minute, let's change something. I don't want to be by my sister.
Well, I thought y'all were all sisters.
Turn in, okay. All right. That's my good side. Thank y'all. Thank you for your service.
She just lights up. She lights up.
Oh, yeah. Susan, you gonna pick all this stuff up? Okay, we'll leave it right there.
Thank you for that. And with that, we will adjourn and traveling mercies.